What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of College Hill Celebrity Edition. This is season 2, I want to say maybe episode 5 or something like that. Let's get right into it. So, we are waiting for the other half of the students to show up because everybody had to wait because Ray J could not find his phone. They come in the nick of time, right? So, each group has to present. This is the theater class. They have to do like these job interviews, these mock job interviews. When I tell you, they were quite funny. Like, I did not expect to laugh as much as I did. Especially when it came to Tiffany or Amber. That was a mess. Jocelyn doing all that hollering. That was a mess. And also Ray J. Because Ray J, he's really funny. They had their French midterm next, and honestly, nothing really happened. I guess they passed. I would have failed them. But let's go ahead and go back to the house. So, we actually see a conversation with Parker and her mom. And of course, her mom is white, her dad is black. And she talks about how, growing up, her mom would put her in dance classes. She hated to dance. She never wanted to dance. That just wasn't her thing growing up. But look at her now. She's, participating in being a stingette. And now she has a whole performance that she has to do at the Magic City Classic. So one thing that I do like about this show is that it is pushing some of them to step out of their comfort zone. So now we have a conversation between Orion, Ray J, and Amber. And at first they're talking about like learning their first curse words or whatever. And then Amber talks about how, she first got to LA, she talked, well, let's just say, I guess, when she spoke, most people could understand her because she said she talked like a South Philly girl. I don't know what that means because I'm not from Philly, but according to her, it's like broken English. So, she also talks about how it's hard for her to kind of navigate the world because when she's, especially dating, when she's dating black men, sometimes there's things that she does and they view it as, oh, that's the white side of her. And then when she's tried to date white guys, of course they said she was too urban, she's too black for them. But Ray J is like, well, it all comes down to you just being yourself. And I completely understand where Ray J is coming from because at the end of the day, what you don't want to do is start dating somebody and you're hiding half of who you are because you're trying to appease them. And I feel like that is where Ray J was coming from. But Amber shut the conversation down. She wanted him to change the subject. I kind of feel like they could have continued, if I'm being honest, because at the end of the day, like, maybe it's the type of people that you're dating, Amber. No offense. I don't know who's all she's dated, but like her track record is, from what we've seen, has been Kanye, Wiz, and that guy AE. Yeah, that's like dating all the same man, girl. So, step out of your comfort zone, date somebody new. I'm pretty sure there's somebody out there for you. Now, as far as the white man, you gotta find you a white man who has black friends and knows about black things. That's what you gotta find in a white man. He can't be so white that he don't know nothing about black culture. But let's go ahead and move on. Alright, so now we're back to school. And Quay is the first person to do his presentation on Juneteenth. And here's my thing. Number one, what did Quay look like without something on top of his head? Because Baby Boy has been rocking these hats. Number one. Number two, it's really mind-blowing to watch them do their presentations off of their phones. Because that would never fly for a regular student. Or at least that wasn't how it was when I was in college. Maybe things have changed. But nonetheless, let's move on. Jocelyn, she did her presentation on an activist who was actually Puerto Rican. She's Puerto Rican. And this person was around during the Harlem Renaissance. I want to say Orion did his on the Black Panther Party. Iman, he did his on the Chicago Defender, which I believe was like a newspaper. Amber, she actually did hers on a group called CORE, which was both black people and white people coming together, challenging segregation and all types of things. And one thing that I must say as they're doing this is that they actually did some research, y'all. I'm so surprised. Now, when it came to Ray J's, he actually had a very personal story because his grandfather was an activist. And it's just so crazy how, like, he said years like 1964. And the 1960s really was not that long ago when you think about it. Like, for a lot of people, that's the age of, like, their parents or maybe, like, their grandparents were born in, like, the 60s, 50s, or whatever. Like, that's crazy that those people actually went through, segregation and all these things. And what's so annoying about history sometimes is that I feel like we always talk about slavery, but then we skip over segregation and how that affected things. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we need to really do a deep dive into the mistreatment of black people during those segregation times, as well as just how these southern states really treated people. Because me being from California, I do have grandparents who are from the South, and they came to California because they wanted something totally different. And the way California was is not how it was in the South. You know what I'm saying? But let me go ahead and stop talking about my own personal life. All right, so now we got to get to the African American literature class, right? So first up to do their midterm is going to be Tiffany and Parker. And I think that they partnered with an actual student from the college to do this midterm. And I believe they came up with like a spiritual. Now, Parker, you know you was wrong for letting this girl take the lead. Tiffany was out there singing her little heart out. Y'all, I fell out laughing because baby girl is not a singer. Now, I don't know if Parker could have did a little better, but baby, this was a lot. This was a lot for me. The rest of the students were laughing as well. And it has nothing to do with the lyrics. The lyrics were great. But baby, Tiffany's singing voice? Absolutely not. Now, when it came time for them to get their feedback, the professor, she felt where they were going with it. However, she felt like it wasn't exactly a spiritual. Now we have Orion, Iman, and Jocelyn, as well as another student from the class. Now, I'll say this. It sounds like a lot of mumble grumble. I'm not even going to hold y'all. Because you have Iman, he has this deep voice. And it sounds like white folks and black folks and they was the slave. Like, what was that? Jocelyn, she kept chiming in on bits and pieces. I'm like, all right, you're a singer. You couldn't do a little ditty? You couldn't, hum it in the background? Do a little singing in the background? None of that? Yeah, theirs wasn't really hitting either. So for them, the professor was like, I see what y'all was trying to do, but no. It didn't work. Sorry. Next we have Amber, Ray, and Quay. And baby, they decided to flip the script on us. They didn't do a little spiritual. They decided to go ahead and write a little story and then let that be that, right? However, here's the problem. You can tell that Amber probably wrote a lot of it because she's into like blood and gore and fucking Halloween, right? So they write the story basically about a slave rebelling, killing all the white folks, rounding up the slaves, and then going to Rhode Island, right? Here's the thing. The professor wasn't feeling it either. She's like, yeah, usually what we're looking for is for a slave to basically be free in their mind, not just kind of going on a killing spree. And honestly, my whole thought was, please don't try to give these kids who really go to this school a low score because y'all done had them be in a partnership with these celebrities, or I guess we can call them celebrities. Don't try to rate them lower. Please don't. Those poor students. All right, so moving forward. The midterms are done. Now it's time for them to have a good time because the Magic City Classic is coming up, right? Here's the thing. Jocelyn will not be there. It's cool because she did not join any of the other extracurricular activities, but baby girl said she's about to go see her man. Her man. So y'all can go ahead and have a good old time at that football game because she's going to be doing her own tackling and getting her own touchdowns, okay? All right, y'all. So now we see that um, Tiffany is stressed out, okay? Because clearly school is not her thing. And since they just had midterms, you would think she would feel relieved, but baby girl seems like she's more concerned about what her grades are going to be, and she's in over her head. At least that's how she feels. Now, the next day, she's fed up with Ray J because baby boy leaves food everywhere. I feel like every time we see Ray J in his bed, there's some type of food around, and he just like leaves it there, thinking that somebody's gonna come clean up after him. But no, sir, you gotta go get up and throw that stuff away. So Tiffany confronts him about how she's tired of putting her foot in his butter cakes and all of this stuff. Okay, that's not funny, but I'm just literally picturing somebody getting up in the middle of the night, they're half asleep, just trying to find their way to the bathroom, and you put your foot in a cake. Baby, when I tell you, I would probably go fight Ray J. For real. So she's like stressed out. She ends up giving Iman a hug because she's all over the place with her emotions. And she's like, I only use a certain part of my brain. And Ray J was like, yeah, we can tell. I can't lie, I giggled. I did giggle. But at one point, like, because she has sunglasses on, everybody's like, oh, don't cry. She's like, cry? I'm about to whoop his butt, or whatever she said to Ray J. She's so upset. But in her confessional, she does cry about how, school has always been hard for her. There is a chance that maybe she might have a learning disability. I don't know. We didn't really touch on that. But that could very well be a possibility. And school is hard for a lot of people. Like, it doesn't matter what grade that they were in. They can probably recall a time, like, they struggled in elementary school. They struggled in middle school and in high school. And it just wasn't their thing. And she's already saying that she's not going to graduate, which sucks because Tiffany, with the amount of work that y'all doing, you got this, girl. All right, so now we see the students who decided they were going to do some extra activities. We see them rehearsing because, again, Magic City Classic, it's coming up. Quay, he's still struggling a little bit, but he got this. He got this. Now, when it comes to Tiffany, I will say this. Her swinging that little flag around, that kind of made me want to be a flag girl. I'm like, okay, if I would have went to, an HBCU, I wouldn't mind swinging the flag around. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got the moves and the flexibility to be a stingette. So I'm going to let Parker rock out with that. But she's having a hard time because she can't even remember all the moves. And she even cries a little bit. But the coach has to tell her, like, girl, these people have been dancing for a very long time. And he's not lying. Because I feel like the girls who become a part of, like, the dance teams and stuff for the HBCUs, those girls have been dancing since they were, like, 5 years old. Like, every time I see, like, the HBCU girls, I'm just like, yeah, they probably were in a dance group. Like the girls who were on Bring It back in the day, the Dancing Dolls. So if you've been dancing for that long, of course it's easier for you to pick up choreography. Alright, so now we have Tiffany coming to Ray. She does apologize because she feels like, she went off on him. She didn't need to. However, she stepped her foot in a butter cake in the middle of the night. And baby boy is not even apologizing like, I'm sorry for leaving the food around. And I'm just like, Ray J, could you at least apologize? Just a little bit? Something. Like, we literally saw her apologize. And he accepted her apology, but he had nothing to say about him leaving his food around. I had a problem with that. But let's go ahead and move on. Alright, so the crew, they are heading to the Magic City Classic, right? And I must say, Iman is very supportive. He's so ready for everybody to perform. I kind of wish that he would have participated. I mean, he probably could have done the same thing as Quay, but that's all we got. I guess only 3 people could participate. So, as you already know, once they arrive, they see there's so many people, the environment's crazy, there's food everywhere. They even have a little place set up for them where they can, like, grill and all that stuff. And here's the thing. We notice that there's a little love connection between Orion and Tiffany. So here's the thing. Number one, Tiffany is like a good, 10 years or more older than Orion, number one. Number two, last time I checked, didn't she say she had a whole fiance? How are you flirting with Orion right now, girl? Because she was definitely flirting and he was as well. And who has peeped this? Oh yeah, Ray J. Alright, so now we see Quay. He's, getting a little pep talk from somebody who's over the guys, and he looked like he may have it. Parker, on the other hand, baby girl's missing dance steps, and she's really struggling. I'm just like, come on, pull it together. You got this. But baby girl, she just was really flustered with everything. And I'm just like, well, what's Tiffany doing? Y'all ain't gonna show us if Tiffany's having a hard time or not? No? Okay. Now, one thing that I wanted to point out was when it was time for them to perform, how come Quay did not get a hat? I wanted him to have a big hat on as well, and they didn't give him one. Like, why you out here with a do-rag on? So we finally get to the performance, and I must say, I was surprised how good everybody did. I'm so mad that we didn't get the little hip thrust, that the guys do, the guys who Quay was with. We didn't get that shot of Quay, but I'm gonna let them rock out. I feel like everybody did a great job. Parker, she did her best. I would probably say that out of all three, for what we saw, Tiff did the best, because baby girl was swinging that flag, okay? Alright, so everybody gets back to the house. They're having a good time, and Jocelyn is back, y'all. She missed the classic, but she's back to turn up. And they got into it. Well, her and Quay. Jocelyn and Quay get into it because she's not passing the aux cord around. Because they're playing music or whatever. She doesn't want to hear anything that Amber listens to. Because as we know, Amber likes heavy metal. So she don't want to hear that. She don't want to hear what Quay want to listen to. She just has to be in control. And Quay is like, why am I the only person speaking up? Because we all should be able to play some music that we all enjoy. Like, each person should get a turn. So now this leads to Quay walking away. Amber goes to follow him, and they get into it because she's not understanding where he's coming from. She's like, you arguing about an aux cord. Who really cares? But he feels like this is Jocelyn's MO. This is her persona. She comes in, she takes over everything, and this is not just a one-off incident. She basically did the same thing with Tiff. So he's seeing this as signs of Jocelyn planning to act out as she does all the time. So now Amber walks away. She don't want to talk to him. It's to the point where he comes, to the closet where she is, and is like, come talk to me, come talk to me. She's like, no, I'll talk to you in the morning. So now everybody's vibe is all off, even though Jocelyn is still hitting her two-step downstairs. So how do we end this episode? Quay is crying because, he's going to bed not knowing if Amber is going to be his friend anymore, which I feel like, y'all just need to sleep it off. Everybody got some liquor in their system. Yeah, y'all might need to sleep all of that off. And Amber, she ends up packing a bag and she leaves. So we shall see where this picks up next week. I feel like that's going to be the start of the fight of her and Jocelyn, but we ain't going to see the full fight, if they even show it, to the next episode. But y'all, let me know what y'all thought about this episode. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to y'all in the next one. Bye, guys.